Hi and welcome to not another repaint video. This is a double video for Lyn and Tjikko's two familiars. They are of course both nature inspired, and I guess I've created a new species for my fanville. The biodiversity is growing. I used some Coliro paints on the eyes to make them sparkly. I love these paints, it's so therapeutical to work with. They didn't stick that well though to the printed eyes, so I had to use a Q-tip. Then I painted some fine lines with black before I add a blob of Liquitex glass varnish. Then I placed the glass cabochons on top of the blobs. These familiars will be up on Patreon with a question, and the first person who answers correctly gets them. They'll go to the same place because now that I made them, it would feel awful to separate them. They're not real, I know that, but I put a lot of heart into my creations. After making the eyes, I can start sculpting. I used Living Doll clay by Supersculpey on top of an aluminium? Oh, we're back to this again! Aluminium foil ball. Sometimes I say aluminium, sometimes aluminum. It depends on what kind of audiobook I've been listening to lately, apparently. I decided to make them a bit feline because I wanted to make whiskers. These are silicone sculpting tools and they're super nice to work with. Sometimes you can find them as dental tools though, I don't know, it's apparently the same thing. Almost all of my familiars have a third eye. I like that feature, it's something that they all have in common, even though their appearances might differ. I haven't decided if we're talking about a common ancestor or convergent evolution. You know, the story behind my fanville is something I want to work on during summer vacation, that would be cool. And a nose! I should have used more reference pictures, but it still turned out cute. The legs and arms were pretty basic, some army and leggy stuff and some paws, and don't forget the toe beans. Don't cut with an X-Acto knife like this, don't do like I do. I rolled the little pieces and smooshed them on with my silicone tools. For some reason I made the legs like snails. I thought it would look cute, but it really didn't, so I ended up gluing fabric onto them, but now their parts are finished. Or not, I decided to make a pair of ears. I've never made them before like this, so it was an experiment, but I loved it. Yup, a win. So cute! After baking, I could take the pieces off the mold. Unfortunately, some aluminium foil, managed to say it, followed along, so I had to add some more to them before making the second familiar. The second one got another version of the ears. I changed it from a triangle to a rectangle, which made them fuller. Then I used a toothpick instead of a wire for the whiskers. Here they are! I love them already at this point. The yellow-eyed one is called Larix, while the blue one's name is Cedrus. It's Latin. To prepare the pieces for airbrushing, I buff them with fine-grained sandpaper. This way the paint sticks better. But I also wanted to airbrush the body a bit. I used this green faux fur fabric, it's so incredibly soft. Then I used my familiar pattern and cut out 8 pieces. Since the fur is so short, I don't have to think about cutting underneath it. There we go! I sew the darts first, using a paper underneath to help out. Then I cut between the pieces before I rip the paper at the seams. Then I sew the sides, leaving an opening to turn it right side out and later to put stuffing into it. 2 bodies are done. This was when I started to think of them as fraternal twins. For the heads, I cut out a circle and sew it like a bathing cap. Then, before I install the cutter pin joint, I stuff the body and the head so it's positioned right. Then I put first a metal disc and then a wooden disc on the pin. Then I push it through the head from the inside. I don't cut anything, I just twist it. Then I push it into the body. After that I'd add another wooden disc and a metal disc. Finally I use a pair of pliers to twist the legs of the pin. It kind of looks like a heart. I used a bunch of yellow and blue paint to create different gradients of green. First just yellow and then I added blue 2 times. I also used black to mute the paint a bit so it wasn't too saturated. Then, to contrast and give them some blush, I used magenta and white. After airbrushing with Liquitex matte varnish, I gave them some details. Larix got some yellow swirls, while Cedrus got brown ones. I love making asymmetrical patterns, focusing on one side. Perfect symmetry is super satisfying, but I find this more fun to paint. Then I painted the noses black before I went in with my Coliro paints. Here you can see that I tried painting the nose with some silver, but I was not too fond of it, so I repainted them black again. Then I could scrape the paint and sealant off the eyes with a toothpick. I love this part because until now the paint job looks pretty, meh. Revealing the eyes gives them the personality back somehow. Yep, I love it. Next are the whiskers! This brush, which I dislike and never use, had to donate some strands. Then I just glued them onto the holes I made while sculpting. It went better when I placed a blob into the faceplate instead of dipping the strands, but you get the idea. I used Tamiya gloss varnish for the nose and the shiny parts of the ears. Before I assembled the body, I glued some fabric onto the legs. We're at the final stages of Artdoll making, assembling. I did give them some accessories though, so hang in there. I sew the legs and arms onto the body before I add the faceplate. I am using a bead to keep them where they're supposed to be. Then I used my glue gun and glued the faceplates onto the head. They are so stinking cute. Let's accessorize! I made them capes with hoods. The pattern was pretty simple, but I wanted them to look luxurious, so I sewed 2 pieces of each and then sewed them together. It's hard to explain, so I'll show instead. I wanted them to look soft and comfy. Cedrus got a green one, while Larix got a brown, so I cut out pieces enough for 2 in this green fabric, then I sewed the hoods onto the capes like this. So now I just combine them and sew them together. I left a piece open at the back of the cape to turn it right side out. I tried it out on the wrong one, but yeah, now it needed a snap button and some decorations. I also made them some brown leather bags. I was winging it with this pattern, so it's nothing official or anything. I think these stitches are called blanket stitches, by the way. I did the sides first, before I added the front and the back. I just glued the lid on. Honestly, I wanted to make it functional, but I had to sew it shut in the end. It would have been cool if one could put small things in them. Maybe next time. Then I added hoops for the shoulder strap? I don't know, you know the thing that goes around. The white fabric on the faux leather didn't look that nice, so I used the brown leather acrylic paint from the army painter to fix that. Then, to make it look weathered and used, I dabbed some diluted black paint. More decorations! They got bells! So I hand drilled some holes and attached them with hoops, and you have to listen to this. I love how they sound different. The yellow ones are much more muffled. Then Larix got a septum piercing. To decorate Larix's cape, I used the leaves leftovers from Lyn's dress. I attached them, diluted some gold paint with an airbrush medium, and then airbrushed them. Then I added the same leather heart and a snap button. To contrast all the green and yellow, I glued some purple flowers made out of polymer clay. Time to suit up! Ooh, Cedrus also got a pair of glasses. That concluded my fraternal twin familiars. They turned into forest creatures, and I have decided that they are nomadic. So they move around setting camps for the evening, gathering plants and seeds to help other familiars. Very wholesome species. I'm working on what to call the different species though. I have to make up names and stories for them, and boy do I look forward to that. I want to thank my Patreons. Thank you so much for the love and support. These will be up in 48 hours with a question. The first one to answer correctly will get these two familiars. I was thinking of splitting them up, but I just can't. They're twins and well, yeah, I just can't. My next video will be Magenta's familiar, you know, from the Jupiter collaboration. I haven't created them yet, so I'm not sure what type of familiar they will be, but I'm pretty sure they're going to be awesome. Then I'll start on a series. It's still a secret though, so I can't say much about it. Keeping secrets is hard. Anyway, here are some pictures of Cedrus and Larix. They're perfect. And they belong in the forest, you can really see that. I hope you enjoyed watching the process of these little two familiars. I am looking forward to sharing the next one. I hope you have a good day or evening, depending on when you're watching this. Stay safe! Bye!